So I wanted to address some the fat loss traps people fall into, especially things like lose fat in 24 hours or lose 10 kilos in 7 days, things along those lines. So slow weight loss is the only right way to go about the process. There isn't much wiggle room in that regard, uh, as muscle preservation is an equally important concern apart from actually losing fat. Uh, some might say it's a lot more important than what is typically told. Yeah, you can use your muscle memory to gain back the muscle after a reckless phase of fat loss, just going through a crash diet and whatnot. But here's what they don't tell you, like the role of muscle in helping you lose the fat. See, muscle, the metabolically active tissue, isn't just a responsible way of burning calories at rest. Um, you see, the muscle, the metabolically active tissue, isn't just responsible for burning calories at rest. Even though that's a thing, it's almost negligible. It's a very small piece of the puzzle, a very small piece of the pie. You see, a very tiny addition of muscle mass often corresponds to a huge jump in work output. So taking it as on its face value um, is underestimating its role in metabolically charging a system. So say in a month you're able to do kettlebell swings with 20 kg kettlebell. Let's say you have a 20 kg kettlebell you use in the gym, and at the top set you are doing 50 reps. So that's quite an intense session that involves sufficiently high volume, sufficiently high reps, um, and it's bound to supercharge your metabolism at least for a few hours, if not the entire day. And say you do that, it's a part of your regular workout routine, and after a few months you graduate to doing the same 50 reps with 24 kilos, right? So it's reasonable to assume that you've forced certain muscular adaptations, um, including adding some amount of cardiovascular endurance, uh, your VO2 max, among others. You will also have added muscle in orders of a few grams. So that's barely noticeable in the scale, unless you're super shredded or really lightweight. For most people, it's not a very noticeable gain because um, it's just a few orders, few grams, and so as a percentage it's really low. Physically, the measured mass doesn't really do justice to the extra 4 kg per repetition volume you can now perform, right? So for the all of 50 reps, it's a total of 15 to 4 200 kg worth of volume. Even that undersells the role it plays in supercharging your metabolism, because you're not doing it in one session, you're doing it continuously. And then there are other improvements you will have made as a consequence of adding a few grams of muscle. So more metabolic shock if you do a hit workout. In essence, just 50 grams of functioning muscle can actually help you burn fat in the long run, optimizing your hormones that support fat loss further. And this matters even more when you're lean and your body tries to kind of hold on to the fat stores. So it kind of fights back every time you try to lose fat. I mean, marginally, uh, the closer you get to your ideal body fat percentage, the leaner you get, the more difficult it is for your body to um, release fat, because there's the principle of homeostasis. Your body tries to maintain its current state. So muscles are effectively proxies that signal performance. Even though there's some amount of face value, it's ultimately the performance that is the larger piece of the pie. So quick fat loss isn't really in your favor in the long run. You will lose more weight initially, but you will run into a wall. Understand that the negative caloric balance is just one part of the equation. So it isn't a simple algebraic sum of calories in, calories out, even though that is the operational theory at the base of all fat loss endeavors. But there's much more to that. So in a strict objective mathematical environment, a deficit of 500 calories. So, in a strict, objective mathematical environment, a deficit of 500 calories is just plain deficit of 500 calories. What I really mean is that it doesn't magically morph into effectively 400 calories worth of fat. So, um, after a while, if you run a deficit for a certain period of time, your body will automatically adapt and expend overall less calories. So there are n number of compensatory mechanisms your body will adopt in order for it to expend less calories. So it's a bit like inflation, where an unit of currency will have less and less buying power over time. And so your body will metabolically adapt to a sustained deficit. Now, true fat loss, effective and intelligent fat loss, is a combination of keeping the body metabolically active while at the same time providing recovery resources intelligently to the metabolically active tissue while at the same time not interfering with the fat loss process. Your body will metabolically adapt to a sustained deficit. Now, there are limitations, definitely. In an ideal world, you won't lose a single ounce of muscle, but the idea here is to lose as little muscle mass as possible. And if you jump right into an aggressive way of losing fat, um, that won't help you in the long run. So there are a couple of intelligent strategies, such as these sporadic bouts of fat loss followed by periods of eating at maintenance or even slightly surplus, and so as to kind of keep the body on its toes, mm, so as not to let the body ring certain alarm bells, if you will, that signals, uh, that forces the body to release certain hormones, make certain changes that resist further fat loss. So fat loss is kind of a reconciliation of opposites. So it's a delicate balance of losing adipose tissue while also maintaining slash gaining muscle tissue. So don't buy too much into the clickbait and the flashy marketing that promotes quick fat loss. Every athlete who has these two concerns simultaneously, one being getting shredded and the other is maintaining performance, knows that fat loss is an optimization problem. And so, if you are a normal person, if you just want to lose some weight, you might think that uh, optimizing performance is not for me. But uh, this is a very myopic way of looking at things. Understand that fat loss is a medium term journey, right? There are certain lessons you will learn along the way, and this is just not a one time thing. Because fitness is a marathon, there are going to be phases where you will go through a cut. So currently I am on my fourth cut. I just started with with my fat loss journey just a week ago. So this is my fourth time. Um, and so if you get too attached to your body image, if you uh, try to hold on to that, I would say, that peak shredded look throughout the year or throughout your entire life, uh, you're going to run into some problems in the sense that you won't be able to maximize your muscle gain potential. Now, how is this relevant to the overall process of fat loss? This detachment is um something that's equally important. Of course, if this is your first time, don't I wouldn't aim for the ideal way to lose fat. uh, you are going to make some mistakes, but the point I'm trying to convey, the lesson that I'm trying to convey is um, to take your time and use others' experience to your own advantage.